I will once again introduce Bidisha, who has done a very nice presentation. And there were a lot of, in the chat window, many people have congratulated her. She deserves a profound congratulation from me also. Bidisha Bayan, she has done her post-graduation from Kumon University, Nainital, and she is pursuing her PhD from Central University, Karnataka, Gulbarga, and she is visiting Tartur University, Estonia, as a research scholar. And as you are all aware, she also initiated a webinar from Finland. So that's about it. And, yeah, Dr. Farooq joined. That's so nice. So let us start the discussion. Bidisha, in the discussion, Dr. Farooq indicated something about the Meghalayan age. Dr. Farooq, you have any questions? Please come back.
Well, first I must congratulate Dr. Bidisha for an excellent presentation and in a very, storytelling mode. So thank you so much. Now coming to this, I'm not having any question. She has already highlighted the importance of Momlu caves. Momlu cave, which gave the, records of Meghalayan stage when we had 200 years of drought, aridity, cold climate and aridity, which gave, which nearly collapsed major civilizations. And so I was wondering, since she has mentioned the, you have mentioned the, presence of a cement industry close by, I think we must act here. The, protection of this Mamlu cave, which has the record of Meghalayan stage. And second, another thing which I would like to know, any idea who was the first geologist who studied the Big Boy first oil well as a prospect? Any idea of the geologist who did the prospecting or who followed up the, already it was formed indication by the seepage of oil? Any idea about the geologist who worked in the field? Yes, all these two things in my mind. Thank you.
Now the YouTube messaging. Satyabrata Guha, earlier also in our Geoheritage WhatsApp group, he has extensively written about Sagar and various heritage sites. So, Satyabrata Guha, will you please talk about
that? Was the capital of the Ahom dynasty, which ruled Assam and major part of the northeast, rather, for 1200 years, almost uninterruptedly. It is one of the longest continuous dynasty in the whole of Indian subcontinent. And Shivsagar or Charaidava is a place hardly 12 kilometers away from Shivsagar, was the capital of the Ahom dynasty. And there is a place very nearby, hardly 20-25 kilometers away, just on the foothills of the Naga hills. There is some 10-12 square kilometer area around which the sort of actually they are called moidams in the local parlance, and they are the Indian version of Egyptian pyramids. All the deceased kings and their near and dear ones were buried there, along with all their property, treasures and everything, even the pets and other things. So it is beautifully preserved also, and that is included in the tentative World Heritage Sites, along with Majuli. So Assam has two tentative sites, the UNESCO World Heritage List. It has many other things. difficult to mention all here, but it is a
A very
wonderful place
beautiful
and
document.
full of historical heritage.
I'm
Many
sorry,
buildings.
there is some activity.
Pardon?
Yes, sir. Sir,
It seems about
actually, I'm
to
sorry I
to
got
my mind.
disconnected because.
Yeah,
Yes,
to
sir.
my mind, it should have been included in the list because it cannot be missed out just like that. Because anyway, it is coming on the route, so people must visit this place. I mean, take time out and visit the place. That's what I thought. Because I had been to that place and I had been up to Big Boy also. I went to Dibrugarh University for one lecture, invited lecture on this heritage actually while I was in Itanagar, and I happened to visit this place and I liked it so much that I always feel that many of the interested people from the mainland part, I mean the rest of the country, may not be aware of the heritage of this place. So while people are going to Digba, if at all, people should not miss out on this place. That's what my thought was. Meghalaya, of course, is full of geological heritage. One of the finest places in the whole of the country. It's sort of cherry on the cake as far as geoheritage is concerned in whole of Northeast at least. There are many other places in Meghalaya which can be visited, but I don't want to go into detail of it. There are alkaline rocks, carbonatites, the Blue Valley, and then the dinosaurian remains, etc., etc. Other things are also there. There are beds are there, but along with that, this Sagar, which is not exactly a geoheritage site, but it's an important heritage site, and it should be included in the list. So,
Yeah, I understand. Now, Bidisha, I think
Yes,
your
sir.
bandwidth and everything is okay. You can talk.
Yes, sir. Sir, first of all, about the question about the caves of Meghalaya, I would like to say that this cave Krem called Krem Mamlu, which is located in Cherrapunji, actually it is located in the vicinity of a cement company, Mamlu Chera Cement Company, and these people are actually actually excavating limestone in the nearby areas. So there is no like tourist cannot access this cave without the help of local residents. But there is a passage to the cave through the back of the cement company, which only the which some locals have to accompany you if anyone wants to go to that cave. Uh, and about the conservation of that cave, actually, it was nothing much was known about that cave before, in 2014 when the first researchers came there to first study that cave, and they found that perfect stalactite which had the record of this entire Meghalayan age and the drought and everything. So before that, only except the locals, not many people from outside knew about the cave. But then this during this caving expedition of this Abode of the Clouds expedition, which takes place every year, I think some of the people they went to explore that cave, and already 4 kilometer of that cave passage was already explored, and they had mapped that cave. But when they wanted to further explore the cave, they came upon that place, and mm, there was this team from Caltech who had come there, and also there was this local caving expert called Brian Delhi. He is the president of the Meghalaya Adventures Association, and he was the first person who started taking the caves of who had highlighted about the caves of Meghalaya to the world, and he had spoken a lot about the caves of Meghalaya. He is a Indian, and he's half Indian and half Irish. So his father was from Ireland, and his mom is a Khasiya, so they decided to stay back in India, and so he was the one who first started going and exploring different caves in Meghalaya. And when I talk about the conservation and what like conservation measures have been taken near this area, actually in the year 2009, a PIL was filed at the High Court of Meghalaya about by Brian Delhi, who complained that there should be some measures to protect the caves, as these caves are very unique locations for different fauna and flora. Like there are different kind of bats, and recently different kind of blind fishes have been found in this cave. So he was the first one who in the year 2009 or in the year 2010 he filed a PIL in the High Court of Meghalaya, saying that there should be something should be done about the conservation of the caves. And actually, he is a banker by profession, but he really fought for this cause. And at the end, actually nothing happened. So he did. The government just replied that they have to work on the mining laws and all the other things. And I exactly don't know what the outcomes of the PIL were. But recently, when I had a talk with him, he told me that this Krem Mamlu is not in a very good condition, because this cement companies are actually coming to the very close vicinity near the caves. So but through this international expedition that takes place every year, they try to educate the local people, and they try to tell them what the importance of the caves are. And also there is a lot of rat hole mining going on, where people just dig small holes to take out quarry limestone. And there are several things which are happening in the vicinity of the cave, and actually nothing more have been done other than just these caving expedition just brings limelight to that area every year. And after the Meghalayan age, I think all the geologists of our country and most from the world, researchers from around the world are very interested in this cave. But there is no proper accessibility to this cave. So I think it is very high time that something should be done to protect these caves. And also there are several other places in the eastern Khasi Hills where a lot of rampant mining activities are going on, and all these activities are going on in the vicinity of the caves. So actually two of the entrances of a big cave, Siju cave, have collapsed because of this mining activities. That was 5 to 6 years back. And then we all came to know about, also there is coal mining going on in that area. So it is a very volatile area, and until and unless the government decides to bring proper mining legislations, it is very difficult to protect these caves. Um, yes, and we also thought about the idea that what if this every company or every industry has their this public responsibility, something related to environmental responsibility. So why not they themselves initiate or do something to protect these caves? But not much talking has been done, as these people are very they just want to talk with high ranked officials, and simple people like us, if we go and we start telling them something, they won't listen to us. So until and unless there is a group who has people who can go and approach them officially, I think it is very difficult to convince these people to work for the protection of this cave and to stop activities in those areas where there are caves and there are various other places near the caves which needs to be protected. Yes. And coming to the next question about Big Boy, that who was the first geologist who wanted to, who had actually explored that area. During there were several geologists who were working during the time when this British Indian Geological Survey was under the actually the British. So there were 2 or 3 geologists who actually worked there. I don't know the name specifically, but I know of one engineer, and he was also a geologist, W.L. Lake, who had worked on that area. And there was this Burma Oil and Shale Company, and there were several geologists associated with the Burma Oil and Shale Company who were working in that area, and they were the first ones who explored that anticlinal structure and that the small hillock near Digboy where the oil was found for the very first time. Other than that, Mr. W.L. Lake had worked in that area, and he was the first one who had noticed that there was oil in the feet of the elephants. So it was he who first noticed that particular thing, and he let the authorities know about that. And the third question about Sipsagar. That I have not included Sipsagar in the list of areas in that circuit. Yes, actually that was a mistake, and Sipsagar is a very historical place, and it has one of the very prominent architecture during the Ahom kingdom, and most of the kings and queens ruled in that area, and Sipsagar was like the capital of the entire Ahom kingdom. So the capital of the Ahom kingdom was in a place called Charaideo. So today Charaideo has a lot of madams. Madams are the graves where the kings and the queens and the royals were buried. And these structures actually look like small pyramids, and the concept was the same. It was a domal structure, and which had an entrance, and the entrance was blocked off after they had buried the dead inside. So soon in the year 1800s, I think the last Medam was built, and today Charaideo has about more than 100 Medams in place, and it is a very big tourist spot, and most of the people and tourists who come to this area, they visit this place. In the city of Sipsagar, during the Ahom king Sakradha Singha and Sukafa and the first 4 Ahom kings who ruled there, they had actually concentrated on building a lot of Shiva temples. So one can see a lot of grand structures and Shiva temples which were being built in that area. The biggest among them is the Shiva Dole, which was the hub of all religious activities happening in that kingdom. And other than that, we have the Jaisagar Pukhuri. Pukhuri is it is a small man-made lake. So that was built by one of the first queens of the Ahom dynasty. So she asked the king Chakradhar Singha to actually to dig that man-made structure, that lake, for her. So there is this very big lake where there are a lot of endangered today. There are a lot of endangered turtle species, and many things have been done for turtle conservation in that area. And the entire city of Sipsagar is actually a very historic place. And if one visits Digboy or the Upper Assam area, I think for certain everyone should visit Sipsagar, because Sipsagar has a lot of things, and it has the first Ronghar and the Karenghar. The Ronghar was the first open air amphitheater in the northeast, and it is a two storage structure which was used by the kings to watch different kind of animal fights and different kind of cultural programs like dances and other recreational things. And then there was the Talatal Ghar. Talatal Ghar was actually the main palace of the king. It was a 5-storied building initially, and it is very intricately built, and one can see how at that time it was like an engineering marvel of that time. So it is 5-storied with a lot of doors and windows, and the kings and queens used to live in that Talatal Ghar. So it is a 5-storied structure, but then the Talatal Ghar was actually divided into 3 different parts. So 2 of the parts are almost broken, and there is one freestanding structure which is like about 3 stories tall, and the upper two stories has just weathered with time and it has broken off. So yes, Sagar is one must visit places in this circuit, and yes, it should be included in that particular geotourism circuit, if at all there is a geotourism circuit that we can work on.
Mishra Saab, you want to say something about the 2004 workshop?
Can I come in?
It's a good presentation by Dr. Bidisha. Yes, we all are very well aware of all these things. You know, way back in 2004, about 17 years back in February itself, we organized, the GSI Northeastern region organized a workshop on geotourism. With the workshop on geotourism in northeastern India with special emphasis on Meghalaya, and several papers were presented during that. Those from Assam, Meghalaya, and even other northeastern states. As regards Dr. Farooq's that Meghalayan age, I may add here that a piece of stalactite depicting the Meghalayan age has been preserved in the Museum of the Birbal Sahni Institute of Paleosciences, BSIP, here at Lucknow. Because we don't know, as we are aware, there is a cement industry nearby. So whether the sediments are preserved or not in future. So at least a fragment of it, a piece of it is preserved of the Meghalayan age has been taken out and preserved with the support of the IUGS perhaps in the Birbal Sahni Institute of Paleosciences here at Lucknow. And as far as Meghalaya is concerned, perhaps we have one Masinram place where a lot of good invertebrates are there. That was once part of the geotourist site and to be preserved as a geoheritage site by the state government also. GSI has also cared to, GSI NER specifically, to put certain placards or signboards close to certain caves close to the Cherrapunji. I'm not at the moment able to recollect the names of those caves. That how those caves have formed and how old those rocks are, because that is also required for the tourists. A lot of tourists are visiting these caves. So such placards or signboards are required. GSI NER started it. I don't know in how many caves they have done it. So these should be done. Regarding the study of the caves, the bad guano, some of the scientists from Birbal Sahni Institute, they are working on bad guano. Some interesting studies coming from their side also. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, Madhavan sir, you're welcome, sir.
Okay, Bidisha, thank you very much. It was a great presentation. I'm sorry I could not attend the later part, the Meghalaya part.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, but then it's very interesting. Two small observations and maybe suggestions I can make. One is Brahmaputra River is a major river, and it has got a history of getting flooded year after year. Are there any good sections, any quaternary or recent sections that can be shown as part of the quaternary geology on the route that you have selected? That is one suggestion. If you can just shortlist one or two such sites wherein the recent or sub-recent sedimentation and the general process and other fluvial related activities can be shown to the people in general, and it can be a nice, good boating ride all around, and it's a huge, majestic river really. That is one thing, right? And other is in Shillong.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Museum, I do not know the present status now because I am talking about 5-6 years back when we visited Shillong. I think it's called the Don Bosco Museum or some such museum. And while we visited, and they had been showing various
Yes,
types
sir.
of cultural, traditional background of the Northeast states. So we suggested, I interacted with the director, and I suggested that if you give us space, we can create a gallery for geology museum, particularly to showcase the rock types of northeastern region, which is having a rich variety of not only sedimentary rocks, but even metamorphic and various igneous rocks which are exposed there and all that. So GSA can contribute, give you the samples and technical advice, and I believe they had agreed. And subsequently, a gallery on geology was also fully decorated and fully labeled. Samples were also given with a lot of fossils and other rock types and typical, the geological scenario of the northeastern region. So these are the things which can add some value on the geological aspects of the trips. Although you have already explained very nicely so many other cultural aspects and various historical aspects which are related to the growth and development of the northeastern region. Thank you very much. It was really a pleasure attending to your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Vardhaman sir, for your comments. I'm very happy that you are here. And sir, regarding your first question about the recent sedimentation, whether there are sections where we can see the recent, I think Majuli would be the ideal place, because in Majuli we see every year due to the floods, we see erosional sites which are very fresh, and these sites are exposed all along Majuli, and every year there is new sedimentation, and then during the floods a lot of also taken the river, so there are very exposure of very good and fresh sites. Also about the river geomorphological process, I think that place in Majuli would be a very ideal place for geomorphologists to study fluvial processes, because Brahmaputra is a very big braided river, and this Majuli island is actually located in the middle of such different parts of the Brahmaputra, and there are there is this place called Nimati Ghat. So near Nimati Ghat, there are a lot of fresh exposures of this recent sedimentation, and also seeing the cultural history of Majuli, since there are a lot of Kshatras, and as I have already mentioned in my presentation, I think Majuli would be the ideal place where geomorphologists and geologists can see recent sedimentation and recent fluvial activities.
Very
So, and sir, about the second question about Don Bosco Museum in Shillong, I was aware that actually a lot of tourists visit Don Bosco Museum every year, and there is a very high amount of tourists coming to that place. So museums are actually very ideal place where such galleries, like geological galleries, if we put it in place, I think it will attract a lot of tourists, and it will be very good for sensitization also about these various aspects of geotourism and other things. So they are, I think, the perfect locations where we should, and our target should be in museums and in colleges, where actually there are geology departments. So if geology departments, they themselves come up with this, even with small museums, and like suppose we can have colleges, a particular college, like there is the St. Anthony's College, which is very big, and I personally know some professors from the geology department. So if GSI has a talk with them that they should concentrate on building a museum which is dedicated to the caves, I think it would be a very wonderful idea.
That's true. In fact,
And
that
there are certain
Nehu,
colleges.
yeah, there is that Nehu Northeastern Hill University. I know Professor Walia. He's with the geology department
Yes,
there.
sir. Yes, sir.
So a lot of good things can really be happening there. In fact, Dr. Manjeet Muzumdar, once we were discussing, and there was possibly a thought process that they wanted to open a good museum in the college where he is teaching on geology, on geological gallery and all that. So there will be good contribution to create such small, showcases for geosciences there.
Ravi,
And,
may I say something?
Yes, sir.
Can I go ahead?
Yeah,
Yes,
Professor,
sir. Sir,
Professor
actually,
Alwan, Professor Alwan,
yes,
yeah. Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Yeah, Bidisha, wonderful cocktailing of geological excitement and culture and ecology and everything else. I think all of us have learned your style and your content. This is the right proportion. Otherwise, many of us are trying to promote the cause of geology, but we end up boring the society and then later complain कोई सुनता नहीं है हमारी साहब कोई भी जियोलॉजी में इंटरेस्ट नहीं लेता है अगर जियोलॉजी में सोसाइटी इंटरेस्ट नहीं लेती है तो जियोलॉजिस्टों का दोष है वो हम किसी को दोष ना दें कि हमारी कोई सुन नहीं रहा नंबर 2 थोड़ा सा फील्ड फोटोज की कमी मुझे लगी तुम्हारी टॉक में तो वो बहुत एसेंशियल रहती छोटा मोटा वीडियो और मैंने चेक रिपब्लिक में केव्स देखी हैं मोरावियन लाइमस्टोन्स में गजब की टूरिज्म है वहाँ पे और गजब की केव्स हैं उनकी जो मार्केटिंग है स्टूडेंट्स आर इन्वॉल्व इन मार्केटिंग and they have learned 4 languages so that they can spend their vacations, earn for their studies, and the process goes on. For this, we need to right away take over these caves, get them registered, get them listed, get them illustrated. Otherwise, our country is famous for good caves, but it is also famous for not preserving any one of those caves. तो वो सारी की सारी इतिहास बन के रह जाएंगी साहब यहाँ होती थी इधर भी बढ़िया केव थी उधर भी बढ़िया केव थी सब की सब नष्ट हो गई किसी में मंदिर बन गया किसी की माइनिंग हो गई so we have instances in the world especially in the Juras in Switzerland where a mining was going on and they discovered dinosaur footprints and the next day the mining was stopped. I have seen on France and Switzerland expressway being made. They got beautiful dinosaur fossils and footprints and whatnot, and immediately the whole area was shielded and the construction was stopped. That sort of respect for geoheritage and the sensitivity towards it at a national level and at a local level can be inculcated only by educating the very young students. If you educate a young student and excite the young student about these excitements, he or she will manage to educate the whole family, the whole village, and this process will take over. It's no use lecturing geology नहीं है हिंदुस्तान में नहीं है अभी तक नहीं हुई तो मुझे लगता नहीं हमारे जीवन काल में तो होती नहीं लगती पर विदिशा शायद करवा ले बिकॉज ये जनरेशन है जो थोड़ा मुझे लग रहा है भागड़ जनरेशन है हमारी तरह खाली शिकायत नहीं करती पर कुछ करके दिखा देती है तो one thing this and the other is say there could be a focus on the seismicity. This area is so famous for some massive quakes of Earth's history. There should be some illustration of paleoseismites and the new tectonics of the area. Wonderful job done, Bidisha. Keep it up. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. It's all your motivation that helps me do the work that I am doing. Other than sheer interest, there is nothing else. I'm just very interested, and that's why I'm just working for this cause. And I think all of us are in this entire group. Everyone has an interest. So for this mutual interest, we all have met. And sir, about you say when you say that this about the illustrations of the caves and different in the other countries what they have done to protect the caves and like there are guides actually who take you to a tour of these caves. Here I would like to highlight two important things about Meghalaya. The first thing is that there is one particular cave called Krem Arwa, which is in the highway going to Cherrapunji. I think one of our members have highlighted about the fact that there are a lot of fossils in that caves. Yes, that cave until 2013, it was not open to the public. But when I visited that cave a few years back, I was actually very happy that there are signboards near the cave entrance which tells about the history of the cave, in which geological area and what kind of geologically evolutionary history of that cave. It has been written down, though not very, big amount of information is being given, but they have very precisely and nicely given details about that cave. And they have also mentioned that there are various sea fossils which have been found in the cave, various marine fossils which has been found in that cave. And I was lucky that I could go inside that cave and actually see for myself. So I crawled inside the cave literally without any gear, because gear was not available, and I somehow happened to visit that place with some of my family. So when I went inside the cave, the fossils inside the cave, they are so spectacular that if given a chance, I think it could draw the interest of not only the young generation, but like everyone would be interested in knowing about the history of the caves. The entire cave passage is like it is like a huge conglomerate, and there are fossils which are embedded to the walls of the cave. So I think this Krem Arwa in Cherrapunji is actually, I had included the location of that cave, and that cave has been taken care of. And recently, one of my friends from this Northeastern Hill University, he was actually working he was doing his PhD in some microbiology and microfauna of the cave. So he told me that these days several tourist guides are available near the caves, and they are providing like equipments this basic rain jackets and a helmet and harness to people who want to go inside the caves. And there are certain tour operators in Meghalaya who are registered under the Meghalaya tourism. So these registered actually they have no formal training in caving, but these tourist guides have actually been given the information of all the caves. And Krempuri, which is the largest sandstone cave, which was recently discovered in the year 2017. So I think it is one of the largest sandstone caves in the world. So they are organizing some tours to Krempuri and Sizu Cave. So Sizu Cave has the largest cave chamber in Asia. So yes, there are guided tours which are taking place in Meghalaya, but I think due to the pandemic, a lot of things these have been hampered. But I had seen, and there are several blogs have been written about that, how this Meghalaya is turning out to be a speleologist is for speleology, how it is becoming a growing attraction. And also about when Ahluwalia sir mentioned that about this. Sir, let me tell you that this caving in the abode of the clouds expedition, which happened every year from the year 1992, Thomas Arbench, who is actually the coordinator of this caving expedition, he has brought out a volume, two volumes of this book called The Cave Pearls of Meghalaya. And everything, including the coordinates of the caves, to the geological diagrams of the passages, to the precise maps of the cave, every detailed information has been published in those two encyclopedias. It is a very beautiful set of encyclopedia. It is very informative. Recently, I was compiling this caves in Meghalaya for making a map in ArcGIS, so I had to note down the coordinates and everything. So I got all the information from these two this encyclopedia, this set of encyclopedia. Actually, it is volume 1 and volume 2, which includes the details of all the expeditions that have been happening from 1992 to 2006, 2000, I think, till 2014. So actually, Brian Daly, who is the president of the Meghalaya Adventures Association, he gifted me these two books, seeing my interest in this cave protection and everything. So he gifted me these two, and I think they are one of the most precious books that I have with me. And these books are so informative and so well illustrated and well written that that if ever you get a hold of this copy, I think it should be made available to the public, so that it should be there in libraries and in all the geology, actually know and see what has been done. And also then there is this compilation of speleologic interest, which I mean, there is a compilation. I think they are compiling another volume for a book which has information of all the caves in the world which have been explored until now. So Brian told me that I think details of more than 500 caves he have compiled with GPS coordinates. He have compiled details of more than 500 caves, which he had given to Thomas Arbenz to compile it for that encyclopedia. So I think that is a very huge information, and I don't know if GSI has access to all this, but if there is someone in GSI who can get in contact with Brian Daly. I think he is the most resourceable person for Meghalaya, and he was one of the first crusaders for the protection of the caves, and he have been working and he have been advocating for this cause for many years now. So I think he would be the right person who could guide everyone. Yes, sir.
Bidisha, could you share all what you said right now and some illustrations for reference of these books? And all that you said, could you summarize it on the social media, especially our WhatsApp page and the Facebook page of GeoHeritage, and also Geological Survey of India Facebook page?
Yes, sir.
See, that becomes, now, you see, this talk will be forgotten, but that will remain on record for others to see. And it'll be another big contribution from you. You are a youngster with lots of huge contribution and huge potential. So kindly do this favor to all those who are interested. Good job.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, if we have any more questions or comments, you're most welcome. Please come ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Bidisha,
Yes,
I think we
Thank
have
you very much.
almost
Yes,
come to the conclusion. Everybody has put up their ideas and all that. So you have initiated this Assam and Meghalaya geotourism. They can be added to that, and as they have suggested, try to make, include them
Yes.
into it and make geotourism tracks. Suggest to us that you see, you come to Assam and Meghalaya geotourism, you may have to halt for a couple of nights and 3 days, things like that. Then I think even from the members, you will find many people who will be very happy to join. If other members,
Yes.
if it is going to be the concluding remark I am going to make, I want to just give a focus on one thing. If there is any place where men need protection, and again repeating, where men need protection, it is in Meghalaya.
Yes.
So you see, women are so. If you want to go for a shopping in Shillong, you see people who live there suggest, आप भाभी जी को जरूर ले जाइएगा. अगर रात को आप शॉपिंग लेने जाते हैं, तो if you are there with your wife, you are more safe. So with this, if all of you permit, this session is concluded. I thank Bidisha and all the participants very well, and a very, very good evening to you. Thank you.